This is the CBS Evening News. Susan Spencer reporting. Good evening. Some of the fiercest fighting ever in the decade-long Afghan civil war as rebels today fired 3,000 rockets into the city of Jalalabad. And Afghan President Najibullah appealed again to the United Nations to intervene. As Alan Pizzi reports, the Afghan government is paying a heavy price as it tries to hang on to that key city.
The battle for Jalalabad continued to seesaw through the weekend. Mujahideen fighters claimed they had taken strategic outposts, but the Afghan government forces still held the city. Casualties were reported to be high on both sides. These are among the lucky Afghan army defenders of Jalalabad. They're prisoners of one of the more moderate of the 7 Mujahideen factions besieging the city. Nearly 400 Afghan government troops were brought to Pakistan after surrendering this weekend.
They are demoralized. They were often counting on air support and much more support, but they didn't get.
Jalalabad has been under attack for 6 days now, and both sides claim to be winning. The city is vital to the government. It supplies both food and electricity to the beleaguered capital of Kabul. The prisoners, whom their captors insisted on calling defectors, were one of the biggest such groups seen in the 10-year-old war. They were on show in part to counter reports of massacres of government troops. For example, 17 of these men's brothers in arms fell into the hands of an extremist Mujahideen faction that receives a substantial portion of U.S. military aid.
We didn't expect that they would be executed, but unfortunately they were killed.
So another group executed 17 of these prisoners?
Yes.
The ragtag survivors included professional soldiers like Colonel Gilaudi and Matiullah, aged 13, who said he was press-ganged into army service 5 days ago while shopping for food. 15-year-old Anbar Gul told a similar tale. I was forced into the army 3 months ago, he said. They showed me how to use an AK-47 rifle, and I was sent to an outpost. My parents don't know where I am. Anbar Gul hopes to find relatives among the refugees streaming out of Jalalabad. The captors say the prisoners are free to go, but not just yet. First, they are being lectured on the glories of the rebel cause. The Mujahideen hope to convince the more useful prisoners to join their ranks.
The mass defections from Afghan army ranks that Mujahideen commanders have been predicting haven't happened yet, but it seems clear that these men at least are more willing to be prisoners than soldiers. Alan Pizzi, CBS News, Warsaw, Pakistan.
The last administration sold Stinger missiles to the Afghan rebels. Now the new administration apparently wants them back. The New York Times reports today that the White House is worried the weapons may fall into the wrong hands. Under consideration, a deal to trade agricultural or medical supplies for those Stingers. Word from the Kennedy Space Center today, everything looking very good for tomorrow's planned liftoff of Space Shuttle Discovery. That's welcome news down at the launch site. Peter Van Sant reports.
Following a series of equipment glitches which have delayed its liftoff more than 2 weeks, the Shuttle Discovery's countdown to launch has finally hit its stride, heading towards liftoff tomorrow morning.
Looks to me like that tomorrow morning is a great day to go fly. STS-29, the bottom line is that we're ready.
NASA is still trying to prove it can maintain a reliable shuttle schedule. 7 missions are planned this year. NASA hopes to work up to 14 missions by 1993.
Well, I think that the delays that we've seen with this flight suggest that it's going to be a long time before the shuttle is really back in the saddle. They clearly have a lot to learn about flying the shuttle safely.
NASA critics also say work on refurbishing another shuttle, Columbia, is going slowly, which threatens to disrupt this year's schedule.
I think most of us here feel like it is very important to get back into space on a regularly scheduled basis, to show that we're back as a spacefaring nation.
Discovery's crew has waited 4 years for this mission, which was postponed after the Challenger disaster.
We always knew we'd have an accident, and we're going to have another accident. I mean, I don't know when it's going to be. It might be 10 years from now. It might be 20 years from now. It might be our mission. You know, that's the risk you take.
Once in space, Discovery's crew will release this $100 million data and relay satellite, which will dramatically improve communication between Earth and spacecraft.
This will give us essentially 90% coverage of the total Earth so that we can now talk to the shuttle and later on in the 90s be able to relay information down from the space station.
Also on board tomorrow's flight will be 4 rats and 32 chicken embryos, which will be used to study how weightlessness affects bone growth and healing. NASA managers say they need to get Discovery into space this week or face the possibility of postponing the mission. Waiting in the wings is the shuttle Atlantis, which must launch this special probe to Venus next month. Weather and equipment permitting, Discovery will lift off tomorrow morning at 7 minutes past 8 Eastern Time. Peter Van Sant, CBS News at the Kennedy Space Center.
A reminder, Dan Rather will have live coverage of tomorrow morning's launch beginning at 8 o'clock Eastern Time. Coming up next on the CBS Evening News, the airline versus the picket line, the latest on the Eastern strike. And later on Inside Sunday, building on a dream, some answers to the homeless crisis.
Now that you're 40, would it kill you to eat Kellogg's 40-plus bran flakes?
Dad, this stuff's healthy.
After 40, that stuff's no better than elephant puffs.
Kellogg's 40-plus bran flakes. For you after 40. Because if you need it, it's got the maximum level of fiber plus iron in one cereal.
I hate it when you're right. I've waited 40 years to hear that.
Kellogg's 40-plus bran flakes. After 40, everything else is just kid stuff.
The product, the proving grounds, the results. STP gas treatment is the edge.
Time's running out. Don't miss Red Lobster's Lobster and Shrimp Combination Celebration. 2 celebrated tastes, lobster and shrimp together. Tender grilled shrimp, luscious rock lobster, shrimp scampi, and more in 6 lobster and shrimp combinations starting at just $7.95. Kids platter $1.95. Catch the Lobster and Shrimp Combination Celebration at Red Lobster while it lasts. And get a ½ pound of snow crab legs for just $3.95 with any entree.
Of Puerto Rico, colors, colors everywhere. Puerto Rico, the shining star.
Eastern Airlines, strike-bound and bound for bankruptcy court, launched a rebuilding campaign today by renewing service on 7 overseas routes. And while the planes were flying, the machinists still were walking. Mark Phillips reports on Eastern strike, Day 9.
The takeoff of Eastern Flight 177 from Miami to Quito, Ecuador. More than just the resumption of some service to Latin America, the flight carried about 130 passengers and Eastern hopes of breaking the strike.
Half of our passengers that we had booked on other airlines, we called them and they chose to return to Eastern.
The striking machinists, pilots, and flight attendants haven't let up in their battle either. They were holding rallies and maintaining their picket lines and enlisting support from pilots of other airlines as well.
I think the fact that they're out here on a picket line with us speaks volumes. Quite honestly, it's something I never thought I would ever live to see.
The pilots are the key to this strike. It is their loyalty that is being fought for. Loyalty their leadership again today said was with the machinists and not with Eastern owner Frank Lorenzo.
Frank Lorenzo epitomizes a management style that airline employees simply are never going to be comfortable working with.
If you like, I can book you on a flight from LaGuardia to Miami.
If not quite business as usual, Eastern is trying to create the impression it's still in business, something that will become more difficult to do unless it can persuade more of its striking pilots to cross the line and fly its planes. Mark Phillips, CBS News, Miami.
Especially hard hit by the strike is Miami, the city Eastern calls home. We have a report on the impact there from Christine Negroni.
Thank you very much. It has not been easy moving thousands of cruise-bound tourists into Miami without Eastern Airlines, Miami's largest carrier. But 1 week into the strike, the cruise industry is doing okay. What's less certain is the effect of Eastern's troubles on the rest of the city.
Before the strike, Eastern employed 10,000 people at its Miami headquarters. It was the largest private employer in the area.
Now, not only are those people out of work, but with Eastern filing for bankruptcy, many found their most recent paychecks were worthless.
I don't like what's going on in Eastern.
Roger Halpin, the optician, and Peter Hidalgo, the jeweler, are worried. Their businesses in the tiny town of Miami Springs were built on Eastern's payroll. At Miami International, already several airport businesses in the once busy Eastern terminal have closed. 20 employees there have been laid off. It took no time at all for those who depended on Eastern's paychecks to feel the effect of the strike. But experts here say in time, the number of flights from Miami is certain to increase.
The market is here, and so with or without Eastern, other airlines are jockeying and positioning right now to try to get into this marketplace because it's profitable.
Still, it is difficult for Eastern's newly unemployed to be optimistic. There may be a bright future for the area tomorrow, but there are bills to pay today. Christine Negroni, CBS News, Miami.
Today's X-Lax is a good morning, guaranteed.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Medical experts agree. X-Lax actually restores the level of natural fluid in your system.
Good morning.
X-Lax, the sure way back to natural regularity, guaranteed.
This year, if you really want to get money back, listen to Henry Block.
Go to Subaru.
Up to $1,500 back or 4.9 financing on a Subaru.
The telephone. There are about 200 million all across America. And now you can get 30 minutes of U.S. Sprint long distance from any one of them free. So go ahead, pick up any phone. Get 30 minutes of 100% fiber optic long distance free. And the best overall savings. Call Sprint now and talk with the best.
I can't tell you how much I love these guys. But I can tell you it's 25% less than before.
Love your family 25% less with Fleischmann's Light. 25% less saturated fat, salt, and calories than regular margarine. And zero cholesterol. Fleischmann's Light.
Once a little guy went out to see his friends, but they acted funny. Maybe it's my breath, he thought. One suggested a milk-bone dog biscuit to scrape away food particles and plaque. Then everybody was happy. Milk-bone twice a day.
Israeli Foreign Minister Moshe Aarons arrived in Washington today for the first high-level Israeli meetings with the new Bush administration. President Bush reportedly will propose measures both sides can take to reduce tensions in the occupied territories. In New York, both sides met face-to-face this weekend in a conference called The Road to Peace, as we hear from Terrence Smith.
Israeli parliament members and officials of the Palestine Liberation Organization shared this stage today at Columbia University, speaking the same language and talking of peace.
Never before have the chances for peace been so apparent, but at the same time they were never under such danger of being missed.
We're hoping to influence people and eventually to influence government policy.
The Israelis, representing left-wing opposition parties, attended over the objections of their government to start a dialogue that the right-wing ruling party says it will never join.
And in order to achieve peace, you have to talk to your enemy. So this is exactly what we are doing here.
The Palestinians, who were granted special visas by the State Department for the conference, shared the sense that they were making history.
We are the pioneers in a new age. We must attempt to initiate a direct dialogue with each other.
But the conference drew fire from mainstream American Jewish leaders.
The people who are coming are people who have predetermined positions, and we believe who are trying to preempt the peace plan and the peace process that the Prime Minister and the President and both of their governments are engaging in.
But that peace process is moving slowly.
If Shamir won't sit down with Arafat, and this is clearly not in the cards, whoever will talk to one another on the Palestinian and the Israeli sides will have to do the talking for the time being.
The Bush administration would like to see conferences like this blossom into direct negotiations between Israel and the PLO. But until that's possible, the U.S. is urging both sides to take small, practical steps to reduce the violence and defuse the tension in the Arab territories occupied by Israel. Terrence Smith, CBS News, New York.
South African President Botha, ignoring calls from his own ruling party that he resign, insisted today he will stay in office another year. Botha returns to work this week after suffering a stroke in January. Botha also has suffered a new political setback from the powerful church of which he is a member. Martha Teichner reports.
National Detainees Day was observed in South Africa's churches today. With almost every form of protest restricted, the church has gained visibility as the last remaining safe haven for dissent.
In fact, we have no choice
but to actually stand for the truth, to witness to the truth, to tell the truth.
While some of South Africa's churches have been at the front line of the anti-apartheid struggle, the church of its white government leaders actually provided biblical justification for apartheid. But after years of soul-searching, at a crisis summit this week, the white Dutch Reformed Church finally declared that apartheid is a sin.
In order to live harmoniously and peaceful in this country, we have to change.
This admission is a political bombshell for the white church. It has been attacked by its black sister churches for refusing to take on the government whose policies it once encouraged.
How to challenge their own people to come to that point. That is their difficulty. They are, as you might say, between a rock and a hard place.
The torturous inching forward of South Africa's white establishment church is of little significance to the thousands of apartheid's opponents who came together today to remember apartheid's victims, forgotten by the state church for so long. Martha Teichner, CBS News, Pretoria.
This is what I wonder. If this is just right, how can that one be just right? I mean, here they have fruit and nuts with all those flakes, and there they have fiber nuggets, huh? So this isn't just a little better, or maybe it's a little worse. It's just right, just like the other one. Hey, they both taste great and they give you all those vitamins, but the thing is they're doing it in different ways. So they may both seem just right, but it's just not physically possible.
Kellogg's Just Right. For the perfect blend of 100% nutrition and great taste, no other cereal is just right.
Of course, I've been wrong before.
The new Buick Riviera. It's a classic all over again.
The road has been waiting, you're anticipating the spirit you felt way back when. Riviera is back, a classic again. It's a legend once more, what the road's waited for. Riviera, a classic returns. Oh, the great American road belongs to Buick.
Major appliances that aren't brand new can scare potential buyers away. If your real estate company can't protect them, you're not listed with the right real estate company because you're not listed with an ERA broker.
You've always trusted Woolite to care for your sweaters. Wouldn't you love to get that same Woolite care for your rugs and for your chairs? Well, try Woolite Deep Cleaning Rug Cleaner and Woolite Upholstery Cleaner. Trust Woolite Care for rugs and chairs.
Jack Kemp is making himself at home at the Department of Housing and Urban Development and promising to make homelessness his top priority. The problem has been well documented. Tonight on Inside Sunday, some innovative solutions. We begin with the nationwide shortage of affordable housing. Here in New York, Bill Plant reports families priced out of a home are working their way in.
It's a good feeling knowing that you can own something, you know.
Agnes and Jerry Boston never thought they'd be able to afford to buy an apartment, even though both are working. But every Saturday, clearing out an abandoned building, they come one step closer to home ownership.
A dream come true for those who cannot afford.
The Boston's Dream is part of a program sponsored by Catholic Charities, which purchases vacant buildings and turns them over to families earning less than $18,000 a year who are willing to put in 12 to 15 hours a week renovating the properties. That labor is called sweat equity.
They are out there with their own hands, with their own labor, using what resources they do have to create something of permanence and importance for their family.
It gives me the sense of belonging, the sense of doing something worthwhile for myself and the community.
And studies show real benefit to the low-income neighborhoods in which these urban homesteading projects are underway. Crime rates and drug abuse are down. There is a renewed enthusiasm for the community and new self-esteem for those involved.
It provides an anchor for them. It provides self-assurance, a building block of character.
On any given day, there are approximately 1.5 million vacant housing units in the U.S., which could be used for urban homesteading projects such as this. The cost of rehabilitating an existing unit is $20,000 to $30,000. New housing is 2 to 3 times as expensive at a time when there is little public money available.
When residents are given the control of their community and their homes, you will find that not only is it it's healthier and more beneficial, but it's cheaper.
But for most people in the program, nothing overshadows the sense of a dream come true.
You know, to have something for yourself and your family, I think it's one of the greatest achievements for any young individual like myself.
Bill Plant, CBS News, New York.
For first-time buyers, homes grew less affordable last year. The nationwide average price of a new home, $138,000. For many Americans, that would mean the end of a dream. But in Boston, Richard Schlesinger found you can build a dream with creative financing.
It smells so new.
Randy Wolfson's house has 3 bedrooms, 1 bath, and at $87,500, it is an almost unheard of bargain, part of an innovative plan by an unlikely sponsor. This house would normally sell for about twice that price, but it is one of about 200 houses in Boston built for moderate and low-income people who, like Randy Wolfson, are having a hard time finding affordable housing.
I've moved twice because of the housing market in Boston, and my rent had just gone up again by effectively about $200 a month, and I had no sense that it was going to not go up again the next year.
Randy Wolfson's house is in a development built using a funding scheme developed by the International Bricklayers Union. Along with 2 other unions, the bricklayers use their pension funds as a financial 2x4. As large depositors, they convinced a local bank to issue a low-interest construction loan.
It's just that you're a preferred customer and you utilize your pension funds and you maximize them to get the best kind of a construction loan that you can get.
The city and state governments chipped in to further reduce construction and mortgage costs. And the entire project is overseen by a non-profit development company run by the Bricklayers Union itself.
There's $1 billion worth of pension fund monies around, and you know, it's a question of finding a bank and getting everybody to understand that you can be bold and prudent at the same time.
The bank was more understanding about this project because McIntyre has already built other houses using the same type of financing plan.
It's also self-serving. You do make some profit. You're providing housing for people and hopefully can generate people to come into and stay into the city, so it helps your employee base.
Everybody has a backyard, everybody's got a parking spot.
And Tom McIntyre of the Bricklayers Union hopes his unorthodox development scheme will help build a better image for the labor movement.
We need the perception of being closer to the community in terms of being a force for good in the community, being involved in the community, at the same time taking care of our common welfare.
This project has attracted a lot of attention, and other cities with shortages of affordable housing may copy it. Tom McIntyre, the bricklayer-turned-developer, has big plans.
We can rebuild the cities of America.
Anywhere?
Anywhere.
Richard Schlesinger, CBS News, Boston.
Later this week, major legislation aimed at making housing more affordable will be introduced in the U.S. Senate. Among the provisions, a special tax-deferred bank account to help homebuyers save for that down payment. Of course, the homeless problem goes well beyond shelter. And when Inside Sunday continues, we'll show you a program that's giving street people a new lease on their lives.
After rigorous examination of the Mercedes-Benz 300E, one automotive journal concluded that it may be the best sedan in the world, and another journal called it a nearly spectacular mix of performance and practicality, the Mercedes-Benz 300E. Now that it's astonished the experts, let it astonish you.
You know, the other day my MCI rep called me up. Says he'd like to stop by with some new ideas. I think my long distance gets complicated again. Then he shows me how I've outgrown my current MCI service. And with a couple of changes, I can have more efficient, more economical long distance. I couldn't believe it. This MCI guy called me up to lower the bill.
Until you call, you'll never know how much better a long distance company can be. MCI. Let us show you.
I feel good.
If you want to control your sodium, cholesterol, and fat intake, delicious Le Menu Lifestyle lets you feel
So good, so good, I got you.
Look at Frank's yard. I don't have a yard like that. Look at that John Deere tractor. I don't need a tractor like that. Want to see what I got?
Introducing the new STX lawn tractor, the basic John Deere, with a price that's just as basic.
For some street people, the critical need is not for a house, but for a home, a place to begin rebuilding their lives. David Dow tells us now about a unique program for the homeless in Portland, Oregon. It provides a roof over their heads and a foundation for their future.
I really lost my mind. I just lost everything. I just lost it.
At 23, Lori Hamilton was lost and homeless after half a lifetime of drug and alcohol abuse. Today, she feels found, thanks to help in an unlikely setting. A Skid Row hotel above a liquor store, housing no one but alcoholics and drug addicts, and hope, based on a simple premise. Give a homeless addict or alcoholic a home for a few months, and you give him a reason to change his life.
It gave me a feeling of serenity, but I had a place to stay. Security. Security to stay there and know I could go back there. I wasn't going to be kicked out or thrown out.
It's nothing more than just giving them what every human deserves. Give them a room. Big deal. It's a hell of a lot cheaper than the alternative.
But Portland's Burnside Projects is more than just a room. It is group therapy and counseling, peer pressure, and friendly peers.
They have nothing in their lives until they come into these communities and they find 28 or 29 other people just like them caring about them, and this community becomes their family, and it is something to live for.
To remain here, they must stay drug and alcohol free. At least half of them do, considered a remarkable record for a program dealing with the least hopeful of the homeless.
I've lost everything, and this is my hope.
Mike Patrick's wife and children wrote him off a long time ago as booze pushed him steadily into prison and the street. Today, he's employed, sober, and proud.
I don't ever want to be a burden on my family or society anymore. It's gone too far. This means everything to me.
It costs an average of about $1,000 in public and private funds to house and treat each of the 200 participants who pass through the program every year. Lori Hamilton thinks it's a small price for a new life. She's back in school now, looking forward to a future.
I still don't know what it holds for me, but I know it'll be productive. I know it'll be good. I know it'll be right. I know it'll be what I've always wanted, and I'm just finally able to make it happen.
Almost every day, someone else comes in from Skid Row and begins the same journey as Lori Hamilton, starting out with nothing more than hope and a home, be it ever so humble. David Dow, CBS News, Los Angeles.
That's the CBS Evening News. Dan Rather will be here tomorrow, and later on tonight, Bill Plant with the CBS Sunday Night News. I'm Susan Spencer. Good night.
The best reporter on the beat. That's the signature of a great news organization. You always know when it's CBS News.
This is CBS.